Hey there, and welcome back to the Sherri Johnson Show. I'm Sherri Johnson, your host and CEO and founder of Sherri Johnson Coaching. I'm so excited. Today's guest is just an amazing, iconic real estate agent out of Harrisburg, Central Pennsylvania. I am just so pleased. I'm so happy you're here. Joy Daniels from Joy Daniels Real Estate Group.
Hello.
Thank you for
Thank
joining me today.
you are very welcome. I'm excited. This is
You
fun.
Oh my gosh, I have to tell everybody, I met Joy. I was at a Real Producers event. Big shout out to Coach Fino. He was just on my podcast last week. I was at this Real Producers event moderating a panel of top agents. You were one of them. The topic was AI. And boy, did you have a lot to share on that topic. We're going to talk a little bit about that later. But I said to Joy when I first met her, I said, I'd love to have you on the show. So thank you for being here. I know you're going to add a lot of value to our listeners, and a lot of people will get to know you. So tell everyone, you've been licensed 38 years, which you obviously started when you were like 5 years old because you look fabulous. 38 years in the business at an incredibly high level. So for size and scope of your company, you've got a real estate brokerage, independent brokerage. You've been at a lot of different companies before. We'll hear about that. With close to 60 or so agents, multiple teams in your brokerage. You have your own team within the brokerage. It's a great model. Joy Daniels Real Estate, doing close to 700 units and $257 million in real estate in 2025. I am just blown away. That is so great. Congratulations. What a
Yeah.
feat. What an honor. I mean, just the fact that your team and the people you have working there, I've met several of them. Um, it's a great company. You've really superseded the norm in real estate. It's very, very, top 0.5% in the country. So how did you get started in real estate? I want to hear the backstory. How did you get started? Where did you start? And then we'll talk later about how you decided to build this huge team that you have.
When I first got married, I worked for some attorneys and um we did rehab projects where we would turn an old building into apartments. And so part of my job was to find investors and to do performance and convince the investors that they needed to invest and why and how much money they would make.
Okay.
And then those 2 attorneys decided to part ways, and they both wanted me to come work for them, and I was like, "Oh, I don't know which one I wanna go work for." And so my husband said, "Well, Joy, I've got a development that, you know, I'm working with other real estate agents. Why don't you get your real estate license?" I thought, "Hmm, maybe I should." So I was licensed in 1988, and, at first I did it to see if I could help my husband, but to tell you the truth, I really didn't help him a whole lot.
Uh-huh.
Um, and then I just started loving helping people. It just made sense that I was, helping people build wealth while they were building, buying a house or doing something else. And it meant a lot because I was able to be home with my husband and, not all the time, trust me. Those first 3 years in real estate, you put in a lot of hours. I did the same thing over and over every single day. I don't know if you've ever used or heard of the program Top Producer, but
I
it's,
used it. Yeah. Yeah.
yep,
I
okay.
used it. Mm-hmm.
Well, I started with Top Producer and I built up my database, and I'm putting in all kinds of information. And every single day I would do my calendar of events and I would print it out it was like my Bible. And I would take it with me. And it was so exciting for me then to check off, things every day. And then the next day, I would print out a next one. And of course, if I didn't get something done, it was still on the calendar. But yeah, it was exciting. And I really fell in love with real estate.
I love it. And, um, so I use Top Producer. I loved Top Producer. Oh my gosh, and I was trained to use it by, I would say, your peer who would have been if I were in your marketplace and wanting to be like you. I she Her name is Suzanne Gallman, and she had Top Producer, and what a program. Oh my gosh, that was such a great program, and I know what you mean by those activities, and you would print them off. So, how did you start? Did it come naturally? Were you just, really good at open houses? Did you meet people, your sphere, new
No.
construction? Like, where did it come from?
Well, that's a great question, but because of my husband wanting me to get licensed to be part of his development, um, I ended up going to Remax, and people don't start at Remax.
That's right.
So most of those Remax agents in the company were not happy that this new person jumped on board because her husband happens to have a development within the community, that they were part of and representing. And I thought, well, that's okay. I'm going to show them that I can do this. But there was one woman, you said you had a woman
Yeah.
that helped you. Her name was Bonnie Henderson, and she was so kind. And she saw what was happening to me. And she said, well, Joy, I want to teach you the program that I use. I want to tell you some of the things that I do. And she was a top agent at the Remax office that I was at.
Wow.
And, she's the one that taught me top producer, and, because of her, um, I was able to be successful and move forward with some confidence.
It's so great. And so you were how long were you at Remax? Where was your next big move?
Well, I was at Remax for 19 years, and I was probably in the top I was number 1 at the Remax office for probably 10 of those 19 years.
Wow.
Um, and then Um, from there, we decided that we wanted to be a team. At that time, teams were just
Yeah.
starting to kind of be around, but there weren't many. And it was
Right.
just kind of a thought in the background. But my husband was motivated. He said, Joy, we could create a team. So he met with a lot of different companies who talked with him, and he's kind of the brains behind the business. So I'll give him that credit. But he actually came up with some ideas and some thoughts, and um, talked to me about it. And I said, well, wow. And so what we did was we went to my broker at Remax and said, look, we don't want to leave, but we want a team. And he's like, nah, Remax doesn't do teams. We can't help you. And so I said, well, I can't continue to, Remax, you pay for the people on your
Yeah.
team, and then you get 100% commission, but you pay a fee for each person. And so we did, you know, went to him and said, well, we can't do that. And he said, well, I'm sorry, you don't have a choice. That's how many people you have. And so, long story short, my husband just kept looking into it. And he finally said, you know what, Joy? I can do this. We can do this. You're pretty well known. And I think we should start our own company. We should have a boutique company,
Mhm.
somebody that it's not corporate. We don't have to do what they tell us to do. And if we want to have a team, we can have a team. And if we want to do
Love it.
things a little bit different, we can do things a little bit different. So, we decided to run an independent brokerage, and we started Joy Daniels Real Estate. So, and that kind of gave us some freedom. Now, we were a nervous wreck because, obviously, those at Remax are telling us that, we're only good because of Remax and because of what Remax has provided for us and the
Oh,
more
wow.
Remax has done.
Right,
And
right, right.
so, I was scared. We were nervous, but
Wow.
it worked out. It worked out really well. We started out with my son Jeff. Always worked with me. He was working with me at Remax, and he had been in real estate at that point. Oh, I don't know, maybe 9 years. And He came with us, and my assistant is my sister-in-law, and she had been my assistant probably for at least 15 years. And she's
Okay.
stuck with me, and we've been in business for 16 years. So, yeah,
Wow.
that adds up. She's been my assistant for a long time. She,
Wow.
is obviously a licensed assistant. That's very important. If you're in real estate as a real estate agent of any, an assistant means a lot. But if your assistant is going to be talking to clients, they need to be licensed. Sorry
Absolutely.
about
And
that.
no, I'm glad you mentioned it. It's so many are not, and I agree with you that is should be that should be duly noted. So was that 2007 when you
That was in 2010. That
10?
was in
Okay.
2010 when we opened Joy Daniels Real Estate Group. Oh, and
Wow.
my son's wife, was, working as our CFO, and she came with us as well. So we were a small organization, and then Janice Fantoni.
Yes,
She
amazing.
she was our only non-family employee, I suppose.
Yeah,
Yeah, so,
she's phenomenal. What a she runs operations and
she
sales.
is phenomenal, yes. She is
One of
loyal.
the best in the entire country, and I've seen a lot. I mean,
She
top
is.
top tier, top 3. I've coached a lot of teams. I've seen she really is quality.
Yeah, and,
Hard to
we were
replace
so
Janice.
blessed to have we were so blessed to have everybody that we have on our team, but we were so blessed to get her in our lives
I
that,
know. That's a
and
great story too.
she's still
She's
with us.
yeah,
Thank God.
yeah. So so you go out on your own. I love when people tell us things like, "You're not gonna make it," or not that they told you that, but
Oh, you wanna hear something funny? We opened on April Fool's Day, and
did
so
you?
what we heard from everybody is we were really being the fools. That we were clearly foolish,
Wow.
and how crazy were we? But opening on April Fool's Day just showed that we were fools. And I was like, "Okay."
Number 1, literally, there's not a close second, by the way, I'll say it for you. It is I mean, you're number 1 against huge brands there. And to be honest with you, it boils down to hustle, grit, tenacity. I've had lots of conversations with Chris, your husband. He's amazing. You 2 make an unbelievable partnership and pair. I'm just hearing you tell this story and watching it unfold is really amazing. You start getting more people. So you started this boutique team. Did you ever think you would be at 700 units and 60 plus agents?
No, no, it's just amazing. We are now just an amazing high producing team. And we have really strong, consistent volume. It's not like, well, one day we're doing good and one day we're not. We are consistently doing very well. And we serve just a wide range of clients. I mean, it's not like if you have well, I was going to say $100,000 house, but there aren't $100,000 houses in this market anymore.
Yeah.
But if you have a $200,000 house or a million two house, we're going to represent you both, and exactly, with the consistency and the work that we put into it. So,
Well, it shows. I want to ask you. So, looking back, were there challenges or moments that you recall, like obviously opening on April Fool's Day, which, by the way, like who are the fools, right? Because I mean, you've outperformed, outmarketed. You are the number one choice in your marketplace by a long shot. Where were the struggle moments though? Do you have some milestone moments where you were like, I'm just you said earlier, I did the same things every day, that consistency is key. Where were
consistent.
some yeah, where were some challenges or what were the moments in your, business where you took the chance, you and Chris said, "We're doing it," and you added more people, you hired another assistant, or you went for it? Like, help the agent who's out there right now saying, "I wanna build something and I don't know the next move." What should they be doing?
Well, one of the other agents actually that came with us, now that I'm thinking about it, who was not a family member, her name was Sherri Walker, and she used to do home staging. And she stopped doing the staging and, used her real estate license and was working with me. But she was constantly saying, Joy, we need to grow. There's look at all these people that are calling, we need to help these people. And so one of the biggest shifts in my life was trying to decide to build the team instead of just being Joy Daniels, a top agent. Moving from me to we changed everything. I mean, it's fabulous to have a village behind me. Trust me, and I do. It's wonderful. But I mean, there were market shifts. That market shift in 2007, which everybody knows about, which happened before I opened Joy Daniels Real Estate. We
Okay.
opened in 2010, and the market was still declining in 2010, which is probably why people said we were crazy. But those downturns, were hard, and they forced me to really tighten what I was doing and to raise my standards and not to panic. And I tend not to be a person that panics anyway, but when we put our team together, that was some of what Sherri helped me do, is come up with people who were also consistent in how they reacted. We did a lot of research. Um, to find those people. So, um, I don't know. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, well, first of all, I love that you said you have a calmness and you don't overreact, and it speaks to the point that the market is what you make of it. It's not what is happening to us. It's happening for us. You're saying, you were very calm, and I think you used the word, several words, meaning like you just very calmly
I'm
moved
not a worry.
forward.
I don't
Yeah.
stress. I
That's
don't.
huge. That is such a great trait, and I feel like most real estate agents are in crisis mode.
Do stress. And
Yeah,
honestly, when I first started, it was like that. So new agents that might be listening, I don't want them to think that my first few years, I was just, oh gosh, I cried. I cried a lot because you blame yourself. You say to yourself, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe that just happened. Look what did I do?" And everything, you take the blame for everything. And so I think after no, it's 38 years, so it's quite a bit longer, you start to recognize it isn't your fault. There are reasons for things that happen, and if I didn't know the answers, I've learned to find someone in my life who does know the answer, and,
mhm,
I've just learned that, you need to adapt. I mean, adaptability is survival, and,
so true, so true.
I had to
Walk us
stop
through
always being a doer, and I had to start becoming more of a leader who recognized that things could be handled, and I had to trust people, and I had to stop, trying to be in control and just start letting go.
it's interesting you say that. Top agents literally tell me that the biggest thing that unlocked massive growth for them was getting out of their own way and trusting people and
Mhm.
actually letting people do the work that, we thought we once had to do it all ourselves. So I hear you say you got out of the way, you hired some phenomenal people. They're still with you and they're really best in
Yes,
class.
yes.
They are best in class. Your operations sales manager is the best I've ever seen. And so you allowed other people, which is hard because when you know, you're the you're what everybody wants. You're the person that meets everybody. I love that you just said you did that because that's a really hard thing for people to do, but when you do it, you allow yourself to be available to do more, actually. Um, one of the questions I wanted to ask you What does the day look like for Joy Daniels? Like, what's a typical day? Or, are you on listing appointments? Do you feel like you go out on just appointment after appointment? They're ready. What's your week look like? Like, what's your favorite part of the business today? And what does a day look like for you?
Well, I start every day. You get a ton of emails overnight, so I kind of just, I don't like an inbox that's full. That's one of my pet peeves, I guess. So I like
Mhm.
to clear things through. I go through my emails and I want to make sure that if anybody has reached out to me that needs to be responded to, I take time to respond to those people and get them the answers that they need. And then I focus on lead generation. I have a list. Do you think that everybody that I've talked to in the last 5, 10 years have listed their house? No. A lot of them are still in their houses. They
Yeah.
haven't done anything. And so I have
Yeah.
a strong opinion about lead generation and follow up and client experience. And so I just spend time and my assistant Heidi used to joke because she used to send me, you know, call these three every day, three people. Just call these past three clients, these three people. And so that's what I tend to do first thing in the morning is make those phone calls and see, and I might not say anything about listing their house or what are they doing. I will typically get on social media, check out Facebook and their name and look through some of their
Yeah.
scrolling history and see what they've been posting and talking about. So if there's something interesting, I can call them up and mention it. Sometimes I
Mhm.
just call or text or email people if I don't get them, I'll just say, "Hey, I am just calling to say I hope you have a good February. If you need anything, let me know," or stuff like that. And then after that, I will have an appointment probably later in that day, a listing appointment, possibly. If I don't have a listing appointment, then I have a settlement. If I don't have that, then maybe I have a team meeting. Um, you know, those kind of things like is what I do. I do on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays try to exercise a little bit,
Perfect.
because I think you got to stay in shape. You got to keep
I
yourself healthy.
No, that is so good. That the whole First of all, for someone of your experience level to put lead generation as the priority of the week, of the day, we're as good as our last sale, right? And
That's
there's no
exactly right.
guarantee that the next ones are coming. And here you are, consistently focused on lead generation, which is just a, I think every person needs to hear this. Even at 257 million on your entire brokerage, you're
Well, when
still
we
doing
started
the
Joy
basics,
Joy Daniels Real Estate, the income was my income. Everything we made in Joy Daniels Real Estate
right?
was my money. So it wasn't like I was making a lot of money because my money was needed to buy a copier and, you know, buy computers and rent the office and,
Right.
that kind of thing. Um, and so still to this day, my money is important. So although I'm this big, compared to the team. But I think that the agents that are working in our agency, in our team, appreciate the fact that, yeah, she works. She's really still working.
Yeah.
So
It's lead by example, and, the speed of the leader determines the rate of the pack. You have top agents in your brokerage and on your team. You have, some partner teams and some teams of 10 people. It's a great model, and it's really, it's hats off to you and your husband and your whole team for expanding and doing what you do. But again, you're still talking about lead generation, which I think just says it all. Everybody, that's the number one thing you have to be focused on, a pipeline and having consistent. You're not gonna have any sales if you don't have, lead generation as your primary focus. Let me ask you about, innovation, technology, AI. You were on that panel back, that was, gosh, almost 7 months ago. Where can you share with first of all, a lot of people are scared of AI, and a lot of people are not using it for some of the other things that it's capable of doing. So, how does someone just jump in the deep end and say, you know what, I'm going to start using this in real estate? And then tell us some of the ways that you've been using the AI tools to help you either be more proficient, more efficient, or be, leveraging your time better. How are you using AI? But how do people get into it first? And then what are the ways you're using it?
Okay, well, I've been in business long enough to know that resisting change is expensive and
Wow.
adaptability is survival. Okay. So I tend not to resist change. I thought it was pretty exciting. Um, and actually, the panel that you mentioned that I had been sitting on,
Yeah.
somebody said something and it struck me as brilliant. And what I did was I took ChatGPT and I taught it about me, which is what they said to do. I just fed ChatGPT. I sent them scripts that I'd read, classes I had taught, um, just a whole bunch of stuff about me. I gave it, all kinds of information about Joy so that it could learn my voice. I said, remember me, learn my voice, learn about Joy Daniels Real Estate Group, and it has. And so I use it for, goodness gracious, I emails, content ideas, data analysis. It's great communication. Um, it helps me work faster. So now, honestly, AI has allowed me to have more of a family life. So, I mean, you think when I first started in real estate, that was what was lacking. Okay. Um, I probably worked good 60 hours a week. I mean, it was crazy, right?
Yeah.
And
Yep.
so I have come to realize how important it is to spend that time with my family. And now I have granddaughters. So, I've got to be a grandma too, right? And
The
so
best.
AI allows me to move faster, but not sacrifice the quality. Now, I don't just print what they say and not reread it. I mean, a lot of times they'll say something and then I'll ask it another question different way. So it does it in different way. That's the great thing about AI. You can talk to it and help it learn what you want and how you talk. And so it knows my voice. And actually sometimes it'll say, "Do you want Joy's voice or do you want, something else?" I'm
Yeah.
like, "I want Joy's voice." So,
It's
um,
really great. And you said train it to know you,
to
but you
know
have
you.
to give
Yeah.
it the information and all of your materials and everything about how you
I mean, it
do a
really
listing.
compresses hours into minutes.
I
It's
know.
amazing what it does if you take advantage of it. And I know my assistant Heidi uses it for in the listings. She'll write our remarks and things like that. We also use it to if we have a picture with snow in it for the winter, and then because we just had all that snow, as you
Yep.
know. So
Yep.
now our snow is melted. Well, now it isn't because we got new snow yesterday. But if we have melted snow, we can take that picture using AI and take the snow out. I mean, it's amazing what you can do if you put yourself to it. And I honestly feel like I am still just learning some of the things that AI can do. We're actually going to um, just do some recordings, like one recording, like I'm doing with you, and
Yeah.
take that recording and do it into videos. I mean,
Okay.
agents should use the social media and the videos because that's how people are going to find them and learn about them and trust them. And so we're going to use AI to help us do that even more.
That's awesome. And what you said, I want everyone to write this down, take it to heart. Resisting change is expensive.
Yes.
Joy, that is the best. I'm gonna give you full credit. I'm gonna use that quote a lot and say my good
Okay,
friend
you
Joy has
can.
said it exactly the way it is. And adaptability is survival. That's what I just heard you say.
Yes.
It bears repeat. It is so important. They say AI is not gonna replace us, but it's going to, agents who are not using it will be replaced by the agents who
They who
are.
do use it, that's exactly right. And you
Yes.
don't have to be tech I am not tech savvy. My assistant Heidi is. That's why she can do the pictures and everything else. You don't have to be tech savvy, but you have to be willing to learn, okay? You have
There's
to
yeah,
stay smart, stay curious, learn one system at a time. That's what I'm saying. So I learned ChatGPT, then I went to Gemini, and now a lot of what I do is on Gemini.
yeah.
And then we're using Canva and we use I can't even think of what the photo one is. I apologize because I don't do it so much.
That's okay. That's okay.
But we're learning them. We're learning them.
I think what I'm hearing you say to anyone who is like, "I'm not tech savvy," is you don't have to be.
You
And
don't have to be, but it sure makes you look good.
yeah, and it's funny, you have a good support staff of specialized people that, you have someone who does that. You have someone who's doing your social media. I feel like we only need to know this much of it so that we can use it, right? And like top producer, we only needed to know what we needed to know so we could effectively use it. And now
Yes.
you're doing that. You're doing that with AI, Gemini, ChatGPT. It's just change. And I think I have always heard the phrase, if we the change, the resistance and the pain of change is in the resistance to it. And you just said it even better. It's the resistance is very expensive. Um, so great stuff. And everybody just starts doing it, Joy is doing this after 38 years in the business, and we're not talking about just dabbling in it. She's using it effectively. And I heard you say it is giving you a better life, better family life, and it's actually helping you move faster. It is a absolute game changer. And I agree with you. Hours of work condensed into minutes. And it just is, if you're not getting into that, you need to be, hopefully most of you are, but take it from Joy. I mean, it just is it is a game changer, not to overuse that phrase, but it really is. Let's talk about what agents are doing right now, or what they should be doing. Someone
O-
who is just starting out. What is your
Okay.
best advice for the new agent?
Okay. Daily prospecting. And building your database. Databases are so important. You've heard people say, "Oh, don't do open houses. They're a waste of time." They're not a waste of time.
No.
I think you should do an open house every weekend and be relentless on your follow up.
There you go.
Follow up is key, and you can learn a lot in an open house. And if you have an open house where somebody doesn't show up, be on your computer learning your database, looking at Facebook, going through, your social media, your sphere of influence so you get to know something. Take advantage of Facebook, you know, and things like that. You got to I don't know, stop chasing shiny objects as they say and don't blame the market. Um
Oh gosh, these
can't
are all
blame the
so
market
good.
'cause the market's a roller coaster and it changes all the time. Do you know how many buyers markets I've been in? How about how many seller markets I've
I,
been in? How about how many, neutral markets I've been in? The market changes all the time and you have to adapt to whatever is happening in the market. And sometimes that involves having hard conversations. You cannot avoid those hard conversations. Those hard conversations are what are going to make your clients realize you are the professional. You want to be the professional. So, being the professional, and I mean, we're talking to new agents, you got to dress like the professional. You have to drive a clean car like a professional. There's just you have to watch what you put in your Facebook. I mean, we
thank
still when we
you.
hire an agent or interview an agent, we check out their Facebook. I want to see what they're doing, what
Yeah.
they're saying, what they're thinking about. So, I don't know. Does that make
It
sense?
is, well, all of it is fabulous, and I will echo it is what you make of it. I wrote down 4 decades, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just behind you with 3, but this year, and I say, when you said, how many different buyers markets or sellers markets you've been in, adapting to change, the person who can change the most will succeed the most. You've proven it, and you have just a literally first class approach, and it's so delightful, and I'm just so glad that, I got to meet you and that you're, part of my,
Mhm.
you know,
Well,
where I
thank you.
can go to say, "Who do I know in your market?" Number 1, and that, just so much knowledge. It's so great to have tenacity, but also remain humble and teachable, and you have that blend of both of those things. It's really great, and I think it's
We're
admirable, and I hope everyone's really taking that in because at your level, you know, you're still doing it. You're still going on appointments. You're the example, and your
well,
brand is so much you. I've watched what you do. I've seen your videos. I know that you're at the forefront of the name, and it's people have to level up to be on your team, that there are requirements. And, I was taught dress for the job you want and show up professionally, and everything speaks, and that is so true. No one is going to hire someone if you're not dressed right, at an open house, or if you're looking at your phone, or if you're not
no.
fully engaging with people.
When
So,
people are seeing you, they're
mm,
s they're seeing they're looking at everything, what your hair look like, or your teeth clean, or your clothes clean, are they nice, is your car clean? I mean, cleanliness is next to godliness when you're selling your home, but it's also
right.
next to godliness when you're meeting people and you're trying to promote yourself as a professional. So, I don't know,
And,
agents who wanna win, I don't know, they've got to embrace the changes. They've gotta work on their relationships. Relationships are so important, and they have to be consistent, constantly consistent. You
well,
know?
it is the consistent that word has been throughout the fabric of this entire conversation today. I love it. I applaud you. I wanna say, wow, just it's been, like, so great getting to know you today, and you can get a hold of Joy through all of her social media channels are listed in the link below. Joy, any last thought? When you look at the next 5 years, I know that the person who can change the most, you believe if you can adapt, you'll make it. What do you think's what's gonna look like in the next 5+ years? What do you think?
Wow, that's we do think of what it's gonna look like in the next 5 years, and I am married to a man who is 10 years older than me. So I am and I've been doing this for 38 years, so I'm thinking in the next 5 years, I wanna find that person who's like me and just loves their job, they love what they're doing, they wanna help people. My goal is to help people meet their goals. My goal is to help them make their goals. And so, I want to find that person who feels like I do and they have to still be calm, and
Yeah,
and
it's
be able
hard.
to communicate and focus on solutions. I focus on solutions. I feel like I'm a problem solver. Um,
So
but
good.
sometimes when you have to focus on solutions, um, it just takes time. So that's
I
my goal maybe in the next 5 years, is to find that person who wants to just take over my business and continue following up with my clients.
I love it. I love it. Well, you have a legacy that you've built, and I wish you and Chris always the best. And I would love to have you back on the show if we can have you back. Uh, we'll have you back before the 40th year. How about that? We'll have you back. We'll have you back. Maybe we'll have Chris on with you.
Yeah, I
I
know. 30 I have to do 40 years, we have to
Yes,
have a
that's right. Well, that's a must, and, I know you'll still be fully engaged, at the really this elite level. Congratulations, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Ah, what a day. What an outstanding list of things. I took so many notes. I hope if you're listening right now, you have taken to heart a couple of the literal fire that was just dropped because we've got a phenomenal, iconic real estate agent who's got a team, a brokerage, $257 million in 1 year. Um, I, still putting lead generation at the forefront, still being able to provide solution based, value added relationships. I love it. Thank you so much for being on today. And Joy, we'll have you back for sure. And thank you all for listening. We'll see you next time on the Sherri Johnson Show podcast. I'm Sherri Johnson. You rock. I'll see you soon. Thanks.
Thanks. Ow.
Oh, you were great. You're so
I
good.
don't know about that,
You're a
but
natural. You
oh,
are a
thank
natural. So good. I would have thought you'd done this multiple times.
well, I've done a lot of videos, so I feel like that's kind of the
y-
same thing.
yeah, no, you are really fabulous. And we'll send a copy of this out to you. My producer will. Her name is Haley.
Okay.
You'll get a copy of it, and then you can do with it what you want. But we're going to tag you in our post when we post it and send it out. And then,
Okay.
yeah, we'll be back in touch. I'd love to do something for your team. Hopefully, I'll get with Janice on that. Okay.
All right, Sherri. Thank
Thank
you.
you, Joy. You're awesome. You really are.
Thank you.
Very
Bye-bye.
happy to see you. Take care. Bye bye.